Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Make Designs. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a Tumbler template and also how to make your artwork on an 8.5 by 11 sheet for printing. Now you can go in here. I already have a template set for 8.5 by 11, but I'm going to show you guys how to make that. So when you go into this plus button, you click this plus under that, and right now it's set to pixels. You set it to inches, and then you would input the 8.5 and 11, or it could be 11 by 14. Now take note of the DPI is 400. That is a good DPI. And then you would create that. Now I'm going to turn to the side since we're going to be making a Tumbler template. Now I'm going to select my color tool in the top right hand corner and make sure it is on a layer, and fill the layer with that. And I'm going to want to change this square to the size of the Tumbler template that I'm needing. Now if you take note, this is where you can change it, but it only lets you change it to pixels. I wish they had an option to change it by inches. So DPI is dots per inch or pixels per inch. So we had 400 pixels per inch. We need this to be 9.3 by 8.2. And doing a little math, 9.3 inches times 400 DPI is 3720 by 8.2 times 400 DPI is 3280. And I do have like a little cheat sheet that I use, or I just bust out my calculator. Here is my little cheat sheet for this video. So for a 20 ounce straight tumbler is 9.3 by 8.2, at least for the ones I use. You always have to measure your tumblers, but times pixels per inch of 400 of what we have set. That's what you get, is 3720. Now this applies same to like a 12 ounce sippy cup, 8.9 by 4.6. You do the same math, times 400. So now I have my 20 ounce straight tumbler template for the ones I use, which are 9.3 by 8.2 or 3720 pixel by 3280. So I have that all set. Now I can save this. So I have this in my files to be able to use for future designs. It's just like a go-to template. But say you don't believe that this is 8.2 by 9.3. So you can go into Canvas and you can, okay, not that one, sorry. Go into Canvas under the wrench and select Drawing Guide, turn that on, and Edit Drawing Guide. This is where you get all those squares. Now right now the grid size is 139 pixels. You can change this to inches and make it 1 inch, so each square is 1 inch. And that'll help you determine how big your templates are. And this method pretty much applies to making any type of template, whether it is for a keychain or a coaster. You can size it using the resize tool and doing math for how many pixels in an inch. So I'm going to line up this template design and count how many squares to make sure. So I have 5, 6, 7, 8, and a little bit, so that's 8.2 that way. And just to double check, you know, it is 9.3 by 8.2. Now I have that template. Now what I can do with that is, okay, I think this is the wrong design. This one was the one I wanted to show you guys with the sippy cup template. But yeah, I can't stretch it to show you guys with this one. So I'll have to grab the other one. So I'll erase that. And I'm going to go back into my gallery. And I'm going to pull a design I've done that was made for a 20-ounce tumbler. And I basically sized this using that template that I had made. Copy canvas, copies everything on the canvas, so you take away that background first. Now I'm going to make a layer above this template, and I'm going to paste, putting in the design. I'm going to resize it up to where that template is. And this just helps to make sure that it is going to fit on my tumbler and line up perfectly. Now this could work even if your design is bigger than this, and just using clipping mask basically only puts the image over that template. Now this could also work if we make a template for that 12-ounce sippy cup. So we're going to fill in the board with the color. We're going to resize it to the sippy cup size, which was 8.9 by 4.6. So 8.9 times 400 is 3560 times, 4.6 times 400 is 1840. Now that is our template for the sippy cup. That is the size we will need to print it when we're printing on 8.5 by 11. Now you can save that into your files as a PNG, so that way you can use this in the future, so that way you don't have to make a template every time. You can save it under the name 12-ounce sippy cup template, straight-sided, however you want to save it, and that way you can just be using it instead of making a new one every time. And you also don't have to do math every time either. So I'm going to grab the Arizona can that I had made for this size with the help of the template, but I'm just going to show you guys how you can put a design over this template to ensure that it is cutting out the right size. So again, you line up your design over the template, which again, you could be using another picture, anything, and it would just make it the size of the tumbler that you're wanting to print out. So you're printing that template size. So you line that up, and there you go. You have your design in the size you need it. Now, if you're doing a tapered tumbler, you could go to Google, pull an image like this of a tapered tumbler template. It's a mouthful. And you can insert that photo. And when we insert this photo, it does not matter the size at the moment. So we're just going to make it as big as possible. You can put fit to screen, and it enlarges it as big as possible. And then we are going to select a bright color. I like using bright colors so I can see it. Sometimes I change the opacity down on the layer beneath it that I'm tracing so I don't see that color as much. But I'm just going to trace. And a good tip is when you draw a line like this and then you hold it, it turns into a straight line. So I'm just speeding this up so you guys don't see this part that takes a couple minutes, but we're just tracing the line work of the template as close as possible. And I'm going to fill this with color. Now when you drag and drop the color in, you can see up top the color drop threshold. If it's low, it'll do this. It won't fill it in all the way. Now if you pull it in, and then you can see that up top, and you drag your pen over, it changes that threshold so that way you don't have any lines. It's fully filling it in. Now I'm going to turn the opacity down just so I can see the red line underneath and make sure that I traced it well enough. So that way, like there, well, not there so much, it kind of looks pretty good up here. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but I want to make sure that this template is a good solid template to use. Now you see all this red over here? I don't want that exposed. I want this to be a good trace and cut this down a little bit. But I'm going to come back to that red. Right now I'm erasing anything that went over. Like this right here, I'm going to erase some of that. Now I'm just making sure that this template looks good, but now I'm going to draw and cover up that red. Now cover up a little bit more. Okay, clean this up just a little bit. Now that looks pretty perfect to me. Okay, so now that I see that everything looks good, I can delete the layer that I used to trace from, and I can resize this tumbler. And I actually had to double check the size of my tapered tumblers, and they ended up being the same size as the straight ones, 9.3 by 8.2, or as we had done the math, 3720 pixels by 3280 pixels, and that didn't work out right. Left out a 0, 3280, and there we go. So that, well, it kind of cut off the bottom. Let me do that one more time. Sorry. 3720 by 3280. That was not right, so that made it long. Put the numbers in backwards. Sorry. 3720 by 3280. I'm going to hammer this in your guys' head. So now we have it correct. It is now 9.3 by 8.2. I'm going to fill this in with a different color so you can see it better. And there you go. That's how you make a tapered tumbler template. Say that 3 times fast. As well as I showed you guys how to make a 20-ounce tumbler template and a 12-ounce sippy cup template. And this also applies to many other templates you guys can make. But if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop that down in the comments, and I will respond to everyone's comment. Also, if you have suggestions for something specific that you guys want to learn, put that in the comments as well, and I will get to making videos that you guys specifically request. Hope you guys have a good day or a good night wherever you're at. Bye. What a wonderful